안녕하세요 여러분, Tony입니다. Hello everyone, it's Tony. Merry Christmas to everybody and happy holidays to all those of you who do not celebrate Christmas. And with that being said, BTS is really giving us a lot to be thankful for this special holiday season and this year in general, because they are releasing another holiday special song. This one's following up on Jimin's yesterday release of Love Christmas, which I do have reacted to on the channel if you want to go check it out, alongside their Dynamite holiday remix. Everything will be found in the BTS playlist down in the description box down in the below, linked also in the description box and comments. But with that being said, today marks the special release by Now V for a song titled Snowflower featuring Peakboy. Don't know what I'm in store for, but knowing V, it's going to be very heartfelt, very deep, very special, very just powerful, just amazing vocalist, very soft, smoothing voice, and I cannot wait to get into it. And with that being said, I do have something to get to with family because it is Christmas Eve for me, so I won't be able to edit this video. I do apologize, but hopefully you guys still enjoy it. And with that being said, let us now get into the song. I'm very excited for this. Honestly, when I first saw it, just to caveat, I thought Snowflower. I was thinking the song that RM sang actually a while back, but I realized it's not the same thing. But yeah, it's cool, like a little bit of Charlie Chaplin kind of vibe. It's the same kind of visual aesthetic also as Jimin's kind of Love Christmas kind of visual picture, also kind of in this style of more kid-friendly-esque. So we'll see what the actual music feels like. Okay, I was kind of expecting this from V, honestly. V has a way with the more sentimental songs, the more emotional impact songs. Oh, V hits it hard right off the. Oh, okay. Okay, this is the exact same thing that happened on the B album when I first heard I think the second track off of that. Yo, V's D. Oh, yo, V. So he's starting off in a very kind of deep place, a very kind of sentimental place, but then he's starting to slowly bring it up, and you can feel it with also the electric, I think it's bass or guitar here. It's slowly starting to pick up pace. We're slowly starting to get up there. Ooh, I like that little play with the radio in the back. So now we got the drums. We also have I think a cello. Oh, V. Wow, the pace there, he really picked up the tempo of that little portion. It's kind of slowly speeding up. We can see it now here. I'm just along for the ride, V. Ooh, the high note right there. Oh, V. It's fun. It's very fun with the little kind of distant radio voice on it. Yes. Oh, the trumpet in the background too. The trumpet adds that aspect of kind of a noir, deep, kind of nighttime, the snow is falling vibe. You're just walking down the alley. It feels like it has this ambiance to it now. The song has a jazzy bar vibe. Ooh. First, I honestly thought that when they said ladies and gentlemen, I thought it was RM was ladies and gentlemen, because in Dynamite he says the exact same thing, but it's not, and it said Peakboy. And honestly, when Peakboy came in, I thought that was Sugar for a hot second, but it's not. It's a cool dynamic because you have V going really slow in the tempo and he's like really being really kind of like smooth with his words. Here we're being a bit more aggressive. We're kind of like really picking up the tempo of like the vocals of like the lines of the voices, but not of the actual music instruments. Here he's just like really bringing a different kind of like flavor to the song, a bit different dimension, and kind of just making it kind of like reset so that when V comes back in, it's not like we're kind of like exhausted by the fact that it's like continuously being slow. So it's keeping us kind of like up tempo, you know, keeping us like refreshed and kind of like just like occupied, kind of attentive. Sorry, and he's now bringing it back into a way that V will be very smooth in. He has some nice vocals too. Ooh, I think that was V. V is really, really impressive with the high notes. It's so cool to see, especially since he does have a bit of a deeper voice, but he can still hit these like high, kind of like pitched notes. Oh, so cool. Was it Peakboy? I can't tell. You make me wanna be a better man. This is V for sure. Woo! This chorus is so special because it starts off kind of like dark and then it comes very bright with that like high note, and that's like the climax I think of this song. I think that's kind of like what's being kind of represented with this, like the snow flower. The flower is like the thing that comes out of the snow. This is like the high note. That's kind of like that bright point, and that's like kind of what you want to protect over all of this darkness, kind of something blooming out. And I think it's also maybe V's way of a representation of like, you know, what's happening right now in the world with like COVID and everything. It's like a moment that you will come out of, and I think that's what I also noticed with the B album. A lot of it with the, like life goes on and everything is kind of like really kind of reassuring people that, you know, this is a moment in life, it will pass, you know. The addition of the violin and the trumpet over top of the cello is so nice. And it's not just one violin, it's multiple violins, because you can hear like some difference, like but while one is going like very slow and like methodical, it's really creating kind of like this orchestra or like even jazz club vibe, honestly. It's a long song, I just realized. The trumpet really brings this kind of like nostalgic retro vibe to it, like jazz bar. I love it. V's voice fits perfectly into like a jazzy setting, I would think. That's actually a very, very nice way to end it. It kind of feels like they ended that perfectly because you kind of just end off, you taper off with the just instruments. That's how it started, that's how it ends. And it's like very reminiscent of like the period, and which I'm thinking kind of like jazz bar and everything. After like the vocalist sings, you taper off into just the instruments themselves and then just cut with that. That is kind of like very, very smooth. And I love the addition of the trumpet because it doesn't come in at the beginning. We start off with the piano, very sad, very kind of like depressive, almost very emotional, but as I mentioned, we're kind of picking up tempo, picking up pace, and then we get into now the addition of the trumpet, the addition of the violins over top of the cello and the drums that we have. It makes a lot more of like a brighter type of style, even though the whole underlying beat is the exact same throughout. It's kind of like this more kind of like, you know, somber, a bit darker, but there are these notes that kind of just like the flower that we see in the image here really just push through all of this like darkness, I guess you could say. It just really makes it special. I think that overall, as that obviously V just nailed it, just hit it out of the park once again with his amazing vocals, his deep, deep tones, but then his also ability to hit such amazing high notes. That's what's really shocks me about every time I hear V just do any type of singing. It's just really, really impressive, just the range of his voice. It's similar to Jimin. Jimin's very unique in his voice. V I can spot a mile away also. These voices are just so, so cool. And Peakboy is maybe the only thing that's like why I couldn't distinguish it between V and him. He had a really cool voice too. He had a nice incorporation, and again, as I mentioned, having him rap actually or just like speak very fast was a cool way to kind of like reset the entire song itself and kind of like keep us attentive to what was to come to the finale at the ending of overall really awesome song and definitely a cool addition to the new playlist I'm going to be creating for Christmas songs, because now I have Love Christmas by Jimin and I'm going to definitely be adding Snowflower by V. But with that being said, guys, hopefully you did enjoy this video. As I mentioned, if you want to go check out Love Christmas or Dynamite Holiday Remix or any other BTS reaction that I've done, it'll all be linked in the BTS playlist down in the description box below. Hopefully you guys do check out the video. But with that being said, guys, I got to get back to some Christmas stuff, so hopefully you guys have a very happy Christmas, very happy holidays, and I'll see you in the next video. 안녕히 계세요. Goodbye.